Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I am Vashan Brown. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is the latest group to make public its disagreement with the Bank of Jamaica's decision to increase the monetary policy interest rate to 1.5%. Now, the organization says the bank could have held the policy rate as the inflation being experienced is temporary. Javon Keys reports.
The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, joins the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, expressing discontent with the Bank of Jamaica's move to increase the policy interest rate to 1.5% from 0.5%. Dr. Adrian Stokes, who is a member of the PSOJ's Economic Policy Committee, says the move, which will drive up the cost of borrowing and restrict cash movement in the economy, was unwarranted at this time. He says the current upward movement in inflation is likely to be short-term.
The inflation we're experiencing is due to material supply constraints globally and is widely regarded as transitory or temporary. The BOJ acknowledges this situation. Second, while short-term inflation expectations, certainly as measured by the BOJ, those expectations have risen. This is not a surprise, actually. However, when you look at long-term inflation expectations as measured by the local financial market, those expectations are well anchored.
Dr. Stokes also says these factors make it clear that a hike in interest rates at this time is not the appropriate solution to stem the upward movement. Recent communication from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, also encouraged central banks to avoid tightening monetary policy until there is more clarity on underlying price dynamics. Dr. Stokes says what the central bank needed to do was manage inflation expectations.
When you look at a proxy that we have, not perfect, but a proxy, those expectations were well anchored, well managed. What a central bank can do to manage expectation is to utilize its credibility. And the Bank of Jamaica has a lot of credibility. So communication is key. Indicate to the market that it understands and it sees the short-term inflation dynamics, but also explain to the market and be very clear that the central bank stands ready to act if inflation were to become embedded or if long-term inflation expectations start to move up.
For the Business Day, I'm Javon Keys.
The Jamaican dollar lost some ground today to the U.S. currency. The greenback is selling for an average $148.85. The Canadian currency is trading at $119.55. $205.81 is the going rate for the pound, and $175.87 for the euro. The JC index lost 1,399 points, while the junior market index declined by 25 points. Advancing today were Dolphin Cove, Caribbean Assurance Brokers, iCreate, Cygnus Real Estate Finance, and Kingston Properties. While on the losing side were Margaritaville Turks US dollar shares, 138 Student Living, Jetcon Corporation, AMG Packaging and Paper Company, and Express Catering. And that's the Business Day. I am Vashan Brown. Have a good evening.